Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Tuesday, November 5th, recording for the Thursday pod. So this is a few days in advance because we won't have time tomorrow because this is the Warriors game recap, which obviously we will do after that game, but it's going to be a busy one, so we're doing the rest of it now. How you doing, Sam?
Doing pretty good. Have a fun show today. Anytime they play the Warriors is usually a fun game, so we'll have that recapped for you. We don't exactly know how fun it's going to be yet, but we will in a couple of minutes. Then we have some NBA stuff to get through. Embiid, Bucks, Monday's slate, and then we'll do the rat list. Very fun show ahead. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of it, and hit the bell. Jack and I are here with new content every single morning for you.
Yes, absolutely. Also, excuse me eating throughout the course of the pod. I have no other time to eat before I leave for softball in 40 minutes. Sorry. Also, fun thing, and this is going to be weird because the Warriors game would have already happened by the time they hear this, but did you hear the quote that Steve Kerr gave earlier this season about the Warriors?
No.
So, he said, quote, strength in numbers has been a Golden State Warriors motto for years. And on Wednesday, this was in their season opener, they used a 12-man rotation. And he said, we're going to do it. I've never played with 12 before, but we're going to do it. It's not easy on anybody, but we just have to trust that from one night to the next, we're going to find guys and combinations that really work. An unironic actual quote, an actual thing that happened.
Well, I mean, Steve Kerr's biggest trial is playing more than 10 guys in a rotation. It's impossible. We saw in the Olympics. He would rather draw 25.
Clearly not impossible. Clearly, somehow, by the grace of everything almighty, by everything that be, he found a way to fit Lindy Waters and Kyle Anderson into the rotation. God forbid he have to fit anybody better than them in a rotation of 12, because that would be the end of the world. Anyways, let's jump over to a recap of Celtics Warriors. All right, we are here after the Celtics 118-112 loss to the Golden State Warriors at home, coming back off a 3-1 road trip. Dropped this one to the Warriors, who have been really good this season. Steph looked good tonight. Their defense completely disrupted the way the Celtics like to run their offense in the first half, and it just took Boston a little bit too long to recover and figure out how to adapt. A tough loss, 118-112. I don't think fully dictates how close the game was at the end. It came down to like a free throw battle. But regardless, Celtics walked away with the loss, dropped to 7-2 on the season. Warriors improved to 7-1. Good game, good comeback, good response after a rough first half, but wasn't enough.
Yeah. It's never fun when they win a game that it feels like they should have. I mean, when they lose the game, it feels like they should have won. It feels like they should have won this game, man. There were stretches in this game where you felt like the Celtics were dead, and yes, it ended up coming very true at the end. But there were also stretches in this game where you really felt like they kind of turned the game on its head. They got to go, and they figured something out. Like, I mean, we're going to talk about everybody, but I thought Neemias had a really explosive fourth quarter and was a big energy guy. I mean, Derrick White couldn't miss threes. Tatum had a really good second half, too. Like, there was a lot of things that went right for the Celtics in this game. For them still to lose kind of sucks. I mean, you asked about it in the post game. Some of it felt kind of fluky. And, like, I mean, listen, anytime there's an air ball offensive rebound, you just kind of got to fucking put your hands up and be like, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't predict an air ball. Tatum essentially gets punished for blocking a shot, which sucks. You finally get Curry to miss a shot and they get an offensive rebound. But overall, you can't get like super mad at this. There are things to take away from this that are good things. It's just like, I back in my like prime getting pissed days would get so mad at a game like this because I hate seeing them give up second chances, especially in a game where Steph Curry can't miss, he's playing great ball in the second half, and then you finally get these guys to miss any shots and they get second, third chances. It's a kick in the dick.
Yeah, it just felt like some of the bounces didn't go their way as much as it seems like a cop-out. Like, they just got some tough breaks. This really just comes down to the first half and their inability to adjust on the fly to what the Warriors are throwing at them. And I don't want to put it all on the Celtics. You have to credit Golden State. They played really, really good defense. They blitzed all the screens. They didn't give, ball handlers any space. Did it to Tatum, did it to Pritchard, did it to D. White. Every time there's a screen, the Celtics usually like to work out of those actions, get their offense flowing by preying on double teams, preying on switches, preying on stuff like that. And the Warriors just blitzed, rotated on the back line, and played, I don't want to say perfect defense, but the Celtics had 40 points in the first half, and they've been putting that up in the first quarter. So seems like pretty close to perfect defense. Excuse me, for the Warriors. Again, Celtics figured it out in the third quarter a little bit. Jayson Tatum got hot. Derrick White played well. He took 16 threes in this game, which is crazy. But Drew was 0 of 6 from deep. Horford was 2 of 6. Pritchard was 3 of 11. Those three guys go 5 of 23. Probably going to be a bit of an uphill battle. And on top of the fact that the Warriors played great defense in the first half, the Celtics also just missed some open looks. They missed some open threes. They missed some open layups. It was not the best offensive showing that we've seen. It's probably their worst offensive game of the season, or the worst offensive half at the very least. Again, they turned it around, but definitely the focal point of the game, it being the reason why they lost.
Yeah, it's funny, in a game where they only scored 112 points, which is a very strange sentence to say. I didn't feel like there were really, really bad offensive stretches in this game, especially like in crunch time. Like, were there questionable shots in crunch time? Yes. Tatum takes a real bad fall away when they're down 4 with like a minute left when they really didn't have to force anything. But overall, like, even when they would give up baskets, it always felt like they were punching back pretty well. And last season, that was a big problem for them. We always felt like if they were in a close game, they were going to freeze up and not be able to put the ball in the basket. And I didn't feel that today. I could be very wrong. You could pull it up and be like, this is what the play-by-play says. From memory, I don't remember like slamming my fist on the desk and being like, these guys just can't play late game offense. The real issue was just the bad bounces, not getting the defensive rebounds there. It stinks. It feels like you wasted a pretty good game from Queta, but at the same time, you should have won a game on a night where you didn't make as many threes as you typically make. I mean, they made 19 in the game, but it felt like, what's 19 of 54? It's got to be like 35, 36, like not really up to their standard.
35, yeah. I don't think the late game offense was bad. I think it was pretty all right. Looking at like the play-by-play, like you said, Holiday got a layup at 5:07. Then he missed a 3, but if I remember correctly, I think it was a pretty in rhythm one. Tatum hit a fadeaway. Horford missed a 3. White missed a 3. Tatum made a pull-up. Tatum got to the free throw line off the and one. Queta had an alley-oop. Then the block, then a missed Tatum pull-up. I think that was the bad one. Then Horford hit a 3. So like, they took fine shots. It was just the first half. I think it comes down to like, Joe Mazzulla always says every possession matters, everything matters, and they just literally could not find any sort of rhythm in that first half. Felt like they panicked a lot when they got doubled. Actually, I don't know if panic's the right word. Tatum said it after the game. Like, just feels like they rushed a little bit. I think as they got blitzed, their response to, all right, if they're just going to blitz the pick and roll, let's run some more ISOs, beat our guy off the dribble. Like, we feel like we can do that. And the Warriors just played pretty good one-on-one defense. Wiggins played pretty good one-on-one defense. Draymond Green played pretty good one-on-one defense. Steph Curry and Buddy Hield, to their credit, as like usually known as not amazing defenders, played pretty good one-on-one defense. And that's kind of how they were able to mitigate Boston's offensive impact. The Warriors just played a really good game. I think in the classic Russell Westbrook clip, did you win this game or did the Jazz lose this game? I think the Warriors won this game. I think the Celtics played a part in it a little bit, obviously. Like, you have to play a part, but the Warriors just played really, really, really good. And I think that's kind of where my head's at after this one. They're a damn good basketball team. And the Celtics didn't adjust quick enough to what was being thrown at them. And I think it all just comes down to that inability in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, the first half was brutal. Tatum looked like he was kind of forcing things.
Yeah.
And, first of all, let's talk about Tatum, because this was, at the end of the day, a pretty good Tatum game. He played a very great second half. And, we keep talking about the first half, but like 50% from the field, 50% from 3, 4 turnovers. He was getting blitzed and he only had 2 assists, which is a very weird ratio for him, and it's a strange assist total for him in a game like this where you think he would have been more responsible for his teammates getting buckets, but it's also kind of their fault, not all his. I'm sure he had plenty of potential assists. Tatum seemed really pissed off after this game. To me, that was the vibe I got in the press conference. He seemed irritated, whether it was because the simple reason that they lost a close game, whether it was because of the Steve Kerr thing, because that was the first thing he was asked about, whether it was because of something else. Like, he just seemed like he was irritated, and I get it. And it seemed like the Steve Kerr thing affected him in the first half, just to tie everything back to that. Like, he really, what do you have? Like, he had 8 points at the half.
I don't think it was the Steve Kerr thing. I think it was just the defense. I think it was just he struggled to react to the defense they were throwing at him because he's been used to a different type of defense all year. He got blitzed. They basically forced the Celtics to play a little bit of one-on-one. Didn't make his one-on-one shots, and I think he got frustrated from there. I think he was definitely like irritable after the game. It felt more like blasé than like angry. It felt like he was like, Jesus, I want to go home. Like, we lost.
Yeah,
This
no.
sucks. I don't want to deal with
He wasn't
questions.
mean or anything. You just felt
Yeah.
like he didn't seem like something was different than normal.
Definitely. But he played fine. Like, obviously 10 to 25, 10 is a pretty good stat line, 32 points. Huge third quarter. I mean, of the 32, 17 were in the third quarter. So that's an indicator of how the rest of the game went, I suppose. Derrick White was probably the best player just through and through, like throughout the course of the game. 26, 6, 3, and 2 steals. Jrue Holiday couldn't make a three to save his life, but I actually thought he was really good in literally every other aspect. He had 9 rebounds, 8 assists, was crashing the glass well, had a big offensive rebound mixed in when the Celtics were making their comeback. And the 2 buckets, there were 3 buckets, but 2 of the buckets he did make were little post shots when the Celtics had no other form of offense to go to. So I thought the backcourt was pretty good. We could talk about Neemias Al Horford and stuff too, but Derrick White was red hot from 3. And Jrue Holiday, I think, did everything but make his 3. So if we're going player to player, we can do that. But it just didn't have it, the Celtics.
Yeah, how about Derrick White's start to this game? He started so well that he had 12 points before the first TV timeout. And I did my halftime hot takes and was like, holy shit, Derrick White might be really good at being like the secondary option for the Celtics. And then he scored 14 points for the rest of the game, which is not bad. A 26-point game is not bad by any means. But he really wasn't really given the opportunity to create as much. The stint in the first half where Boston didn't have Tatum in the game and it was up to him and Jrue Holiday to run the offense was really where things kind of came off and didn't look great for them. It's a bad hot take from me. But Derrick White looks another level of confident taking threes this season, and that is unequivocally a good thing for the Celtics. He's someone who joined the Celtics almost 3 years ago now as a three-point shooter that doesn't have much confidence. You can see it's night and day from when he first joined. He's become such an integral part of the offense. They can rely on him as a safety valve. He can drive the closeouts with these floaters he has. He's a good distributor. What are you going to do? I mean, they lose the game. He went cold in the middle of the game. I think he was like 0 of 7 during a certain stretch, but he finished pretty strong. He was certainly present in the second half. Jrue, I didn't think Jrue took any bad threes. There was 1 3 he took after I think he made a cutting layup or something. Oh, he drove on Draymond is what it was. He beat Draymond off the dribble on the right wing. Gets the ball next possession. Same situation, Draymond. I don't blame him for pulling the trigger. Draymond's probably thinking twice about running up on him. The opportunity's there to take the 3. I think he made the right read, just didn't go in. It was a little earlier in the shot clock. At that point, he's 0 of 5 from 3. So if you really want to critique, go ahead and be like, maybe read the room a little bit. But I don't know. I didn't hate it. It's just one of those days he didn't make his threes. And the same could be said for a lot of the guys on the team. You went through, Pritchard, 3 of 11. Horford didn't have a great night either. That's what happens. And for the Celtics to lose, they have to miss all the threes they would usually make.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just a tough loss. I don't think anybody should overreact to this. Just need to get back to the drawing board, adjust. We can talk about Neemias too, because I feel like that was another point of the game. 14, 8, and 2, 5 offensive rebounds. He definitely wasn't perfect, but the positive impact was far more present than the negative impact. Plus 13 was also a team high, so he was good in that aspect. Obviously had the big late game plays, had the snatch block in the first quarter, which was crazy. The
snatch block was crazy.
Yeah. But good game overall for Neemias, continuing to make a positive impact.
Shout out to Neemias, man. Neemias was my story tonight, as I think yours too. I mean, everybody did the Neemias story because it was the most new, interesting thing, even though it's not all that new. Ever since the Pacers game, when he was a plus 18, came in, helped them storm back. This is now the 3rd of 4 games that he has played where he has hit double digits scoring. He looks confident. He's a little bit too aggressive with the ball. The two of us had this conversation during the game where he'll either get an offensive rebound or catch the ball in the post. He doesn't really look out on the perimeter, which is kind of the whole point of the Celtics. A team that is so addicted to 3-point shooting that I've seen them pass up numerous open layups or dunks to do so. Neemi's like, open layup or dunk? No. I got 2 guys on me, but I'll still go up.
Yeah.
Sam Hauser wide open in the corner. No. I got this.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Pick also now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sam and I use Prize Picks on the pregame show every single time. We love picking more on turnovers for opposing players. We love picking more on Jayson Tatum points, on Drew Holiday threes, on Al Horford threes. It's our favorite time of the show. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Nemi is simultaneously a non-passer out of the post and not a good post scorer. it is not the best combo. He was 6 of 11 in this game, which at glance is like, oh, that's pretty good. But all of his shots were in the restricted area, which makes it, or at least in and around the restricted area, which makes it less great. Again, like I don't want this to turn into like Nemi sucks, whatever, but like you can very clearly see the ups and downs of Nemi throughout the game, or the points of, okay, he needs to improve here, he needs to be better there. His perimeter defense, which I asked Joe about after the game, was awesome. Kept up with Curry pretty well. There was a point in the game, I forget who was driving, it might have been Kuminga, where he just stayed with them stride for stride, forced to pass out, like very clearly becoming a much better defender on the perimeter. And the Warriors like viciously tried to attack him. Like that was like, they said, okay, let's get him switched on, bring him out, make it happen. And Curry got by him a few times, but Nemi did his job, forced him into help defense. And that was awesome. Still can't pass out of the post, or doesn't, can't really finish around the rim very well. Phenomenal offensive rebounder. Obviously had a big put out slam. He was awesome. Not the best defensive rebounder for some reason.
I think he's not. So I think the defensive rebounding in particular has to do with his patience on the defensive end. He didn't finish the game, so I actually, you know what I could do is just switch tabs, dumbass. Nemi finished the game with just 2 fouls, so by his standards, that's not bad for 28 minutes, right? The impatience, or let's not say impatience, let's say aggressiveness to block
his
shots,
eagerness to get blocks. Yes.
It does affect that, because as the ball is coming down off the rim, he's also coming down, and the offensive players are going back up, and he's just not necessarily in position to do so. That's a thing that you're going to learn with more playing time. The Celtics might really have something in Nemi right now. Like,
he's a good player.
What we've seen, it's been 1 week. But what we've seen this week has been really encouraging. We've seen him not foul. We've seen him all of a sudden he can guard the perimeter, at least to the point where he's not getting cooked every single time. Like, I pulled multiple clips off Twitter without having the NBA stats and clips and all that stuff ready to go, just by searching in probably 5 minutes of him playing good defense on Curry. 1, gets a stop. 2, Curry makes that crazy fall away 3 with Nemi's hand all like in his face. It was like perfect defense. There's nothing else you could have did. There was also a possession where I think it was Wiggins that he guarded on the drive, or Kuminga, and the player made a bank shot off the glass, and we looked at each other and we were like, wow, that was like perfect defense. What are you going to do? I didn't know he had that in him. If you're 7 feet tall and you can move like that, and you have the other aspects of your game, the loud finishing, the loud blocks, the athleticism that brings energy off the bench, there's going to be minutes for you on the Celtics. And if they figure out it's not an exact match, if they can use him in some sort of similar way to Rob, he may become really effective.
Definitely. And I'm going to pull up all of his offensive rebounds, not just to preface for the Ruiz and the people who don't like it. This is not look how bad Nemi is. This is look how much he can improve if he learns to make these reads, right? This is not
shout out
like,
Rui, man. This is a big Rui was right day.
Exactly. No, Neemias looked a lot better than I expected him to. So these are all of his offensive rebounds. And again, phenomenally got them. But just, okay, this isn't an offensive rebound. I don't know why this is included in the clips. But we can take a look here. So obviously crashing glass against, I think that might be Trace Jackson. Taps it back out. Good job, right?
Yep.
I want to watch the Hauser ones when he got open. I think we'll start to see it here. Neemi down low.
That's a good
That was
pass.
a great pass. Great pass out of the post. Tries to go up there. Here. Drives
This was the
in.
one. That was the
We're
one.
going to see more. Probably should have came down with that instead of shooting it too. But
Look at
right
him.
here. Right here. It's like
I fell to my knees on the 9th floor.
bang. Bang. You got Derrick pointing. You got I can imagine you'll see the bench start to say, yo, 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 look. But instead he shoots over. And then again, has it again. Hauser wide open again. But then 3 guys in there. Look at Sam Hauser. Do you see him? And listen, like I said, this is not Neemias bad. This is, if he can learn to do this, he will be a far more complete player. Because this is where guys like Cornette and Tillman excel. Both of them are phenomenal passers out of the post. Like Luke Cornette in the short roll has been awesome. And so if Neemi can add this to his game, like he'll be even better. Obviously, he had that big monster one.
And he had
Neemi,
a couple nice
extremely
passes out of the short roll too. Like
He
that
did.
one that we
He
just
did.
watched, and I believe there was one earlier in the game that he made had to jump up to catch it, didn't even come back down, made the pivot, hit the guy, and it was just a missed shot, but it was still a good read, a good reaction. He's clearly benefiting from the extra burn he's getting against like top NBA competition. Like Derrick White talked about guarding Curry after the game. He's like, this dude's one of the all-time greats, and it takes a whole team to guard him. And he was like, shout out Neemi, man. Neemi stuck with him at 7 feet. Like, that's not easy to do. He did a tremendous job. So I think this is the type of game. Should you be pissed that they blew it? Or maybe we don't say blew it, but the Warriors finished this game on a 30-17 run. So take that for what it's worth. The fact that you were outscored by 13 in the last X amount of minutes is not fun. But at the same time, there are exciting things to take away from this. I think Tatum's second half was pretty exciting. Derrick White's 3-point shot making was exciting. Neemi's all around like aggressiveness, effectiveness was great to see because he's somebody who's still pretty young. He's somebody the Celtics, do they have him just this year or they have him next year too?
Who?
Neemi.
3 years. He signed a 3-year this summer. Non-guaranteed fully, but this year, next year, and the
That
year
doesn't-
after, non-guaranteed.
Then it's going to be guaranteed if he keeps playing like this, it'll be guaranteed for like no money. Like this is the best case scenario if you're a Celtics fan.
I believe the rule is you can't there's some rule where you can't sign minimum contracts and multi-year deals, so they paid him like $1 more than the minimum or
Whatever
something like
it
that. But yeah, he is this year non-guaranteed, non-fully guaranteed in 25-26, and then a team option in the 26-27 season, all for under $3 million. So pretty good. If he can turn it into something. But shout out Neemi, man. Tough game for the Celtics to lose. But again, I think the Warriors just played really well. Celtics didn't adjust quick enough. It's not the end of the world. Like, tough one, but it is what it is. No Tillman in the rotation again, by the way. Not looking good for my guy. We planted our flags on Tillman and Springer before the season, Sam, and we're not looking great so far.
If we plant our flags on you, watch out. Because we're the dumbest of the dumb, clearly.
I think Miles Bridges is going to have a long, healthy career.
I think LeBron's got 5 years left.
All right, let's not compare those two statements and wishing bad on people for reasons. Anyways, fuck Miles Bridges. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Final thoughts. Bench wasn't great. Pritchard was whatever.
Yeah.
He was 3 of 11 by his standards. That's not really what you expect. 3 of 11 from 3, 5 of 13 from the field for 16 points. Still not terrible. Like he still gave them a good boost off the bench. It just wasn't the normal magic that we saw. Hauser made 2 of his 5 threes, which, I mean, 40% isn't bad. He's gotten off to a slow start this season. It's going to be nice to see him kind of pick it up as these games go along. Didn't see much from Walsh or Cornette in this game. It was really a heavy starters game. Like, that's really who was responsible for the outcome.
Game you missed Jalen getting inside, attacking guys off the dribble. But
you do miss
it is
Jalen.
what it is.
It's nice to have Jalen.
Yeah, kind of missed that a little bit, for sure. Anyways, let us know your thoughts on the game down below, and on to the rest of the show. All right, welcome back. We're here, and we are talking about the email. I was about to say the NBA, but we're going to talk about the email because that is actually what comes next. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. Again, That's HBTCPOD at gmail.com. I have the hiccups. Excuse me. First one we've got today from Mr. RJ Johnson, the staple of the Celtics email, or the HBTC email, I should say. Rat list. Agree to disagree. RJ says, afternoon, folks. My rat list entry is people who try to bail out of an argument when they are shown to be incorrect by bleeding. Let's agree to disagree. No, let's not. I will not grant you the status of being right, as I am simply being right as I am, simply because you lack the research skills to back up your misguided rhetoric. To quote The West Wing, just be wrong. Just stand there in your wrongness and be wrong and get used to it. That's all, RJ. I use agree to disagree a lot, not because I am wrong, but because I don't have the mental willingness to sit there and argue with someone who is so clearly wrong and unwilling to admit it. So I just go, okay, agree to disagree. And I let them be wrong.
Yeah, sometimes there's just a clear understanding that this is going to go nowhere. Nobody's going to budge, whoever is wrong. So sometimes it makes sense not to escalate stuff, but I can understand it sucks when someone tries to high road you.
It absolutely does. Thank you, RJ. Next one from Paolo Benazzi. Hi, guys. Just watched the Sixers game against the Suns last night. And to my surprise and delight, they went away from Maxey in the clutch just to give the ball again and again to PG, a rusty PG who barely knows his new teammates. Plus, Maxey kept the team in a decent start to the season, won them a game, which is and was basically winning this one too. Also, is it just me or he didn't seem too happy while leaving the floor? Way too early reaction. Can he potentially perfect fit next to Paul George? Can the potentially perfect fit next to Paul George by simply bend away to be a better version of Tobias, turn himself by thinking he's hollow? I think it's impossible to make any sort of reaction or opinion on the Sixers because their best player hasn't played and will not play. So I don't know. I just don't know.
I hate playing though.
Clearly. Speaking
it's
of
fun
him,
that they haven't really won more than once yet though. It is fun.
Them in the Bucks handshake. But speaking of, Joel Embiid has officially been suspended by the NBA for shoving a reporter. This came out today as we're recording this. Shams tweeted he's getting a 3-game suspension from the NBA for the incident. I told you. I told you he'd be suspended. 100%. You can't get away with something like that.
I saw somebody quote tweet the news and say they should have actually made him play 3 games. I do think that would actually be a better punishment because this is such a stupid time for he should have to be medically cleared and then serve the suspension.
I think he will. I assume they can't just let him they can't just let him sit injured. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be some sort of standard.
I mean, that would make sense. It's just I just hope they don't try and loophole this because if it's a league punishment, correct? This came from NBA communications. It's not coming from the Sixers. With that being said, I think it's more realistic that he will sit games once he is healthy instead of just the Sixers being like, oh, he's suspended, so he's not playing. It's just such a strange punishment. Probably a valid punishment, but a strange punishment to get when you're actively not playing games for whatever reason. That's the weird part of this. But
It's
what else are you
weird.
going to do? Seriously, you could be like, he actually has to play, haha. But are you going to fine him? What does he care if you fine him? I mean, this is essentially a fine. I'm pretty sure he's suspended without pay for these games.
Yeah. There's just not much you can do. I mean, I agree with the emotional reaction that Embiid had because it was a fucked up thing that the reporter wrote, but you can't put your hands on somebody, especially a member of the press, because that is a relationship that both sides need to work. That is just something that has to stay intact and has to be professional. And the columnist was wrong for what they wrote as well, but it can't escalate to physical violence. That guy's probably not going to be very welcomed around the team anymore, though. So I'll say that for what it's worth.
It would be a little bit funny that he got pushed or whatever happened, and then that is the mark where he's no longer asked back by the PR team instead of the article being the point where he's not asked back anymore.
Yeah.
So they let him come back until he got his ass whipped, and then they're like, actually, yeah, you can't come back anymore.
They wanted to feed him to Embiid first before they
they set him up. It's the scene from Goodfellas where Tommy's getting made and they open the door for him and Embiid's just waiting there to push him. And then they're like, actually, yeah, you can't come back.
What a mess, man. Basketball season is back, and I could not be more excited. Getting to watch my favorite team live in person is my favorite time of the year, and I get all of my tickets on Game Time. Game Time is the perfect app to use for all of your ticketing needs. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It brings the best prices, the best deals for you to go watch live basketball right to the front. But it's more than basketball season. The Patriots are back, and the Chargers are coming to town very, very soon, and it looks like you can get a great deal to that game. Justin Herbert going to come to Gillette Stadium to hopefully play Drake May. He did get the start recently, so that should be a very, very fun quarterback matchup as well. My favorite part of the app is the fact that you can filter out the fees, you can look at the best deals, and it highlights what it believes are going to be the best deals for you to get the exact type of ticket you want. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, everything you want. I saw Noah Khan over the summer. I use Game Time to get my tickets. All-in pricing is another part that I absolutely love about the app. Toggling the feature shows the exact total upfront. Like I said, filters out the fees, tells you what you're paying with everything included. It is perfect. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Speaking of mess, the Bucks are a mess. They're going to be without Middleton for a while now. Do you know where this came from? Who reported this?
Shams.
Okay. He's going to be out 1 to 6 more weeks. Is that what it says?
Yes. No. He's out. I'm pretty sure there's no timetable.
What is
They're
1 to
1
6
and
then?
6.
Oh, Bucks
record.
now 1 and 6. Sorry, excuse me. I
Yes.
was going to say 1 and 6 is a weird timetable. I mean, I think this is another thing that I brought up last show. Like, I don't know when Middleton is going to be back. Like, I think you have to approach the season like you're not going to have him at this point. And the Bucks aren't very good. Obviously, 2 close games against the Cavs, so they've shown that they can at the very least compete. But that's purely because they have the raw talent too, right? If you have talent, you are inevitably going to win some games. But if you don't have the team chemistry, nor the coaching, nor the, willingness to win for each other, it's not going to be a good season. That's kind of what you're seeing in Milwaukee.
Just to clarify, on NBA Today, he said he has yet to be cleared for a 5-on-5 scrimmage. Team officials have recognized that this is taking much longer than anticipated, and he is going to be out indefinitely. So Middleton is not playing anytime soon. Jack said it. The Bucks are in a tailspin. They continue to lose games. The game they lost to Cleveland on Monday was a very brutal loss because they were really looking like they were going to run away with it. They put together a nice run in the fourth quarter, and then they let the Cavs come back and steal another game from them. This is 2 games in a row that they've dropped to the Cavs in pretty dramatic fashion. They've had bad losses. I mean, the Celtics beat the brakes off of them. But aside from that, they've still dropped games they probably shouldn't have dropped. There's clear disgruntlement from Giannis. There's a weird energy around that team with Dame and Doc Rivers being the coach and people pointing at him and the record being very poor since he joined the team last year. And the possibility that Dame liked the NBA Central tweet about Doc Rivers, which may or may not have happened. There's really no way to tell by that screenshot, but it could have happened. He could have liked the tweet. I'm sure things are not looking good in Milwaukee. I would love to be in that locker room knowing what is being discussed, what the energy's like, because all signs point to these guys are fed up and they're kind of sick of the current situation, which, I mean, if you're losing, is going to happen. That's what players do when they lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really tough spot to be in, especially when you consider the fact that, like, they are one of the most expensive teams in the league. Like, this is not like, oh, they can dig themselves out. They have the 3rd most expensive total cap in basketball. Not good. Not good. It's just a really, really rough spot. Also, weird. Total cap. The Wizards have the 5th highest total cap in basketball. The context is they have the 28th highest active cap. So it is like they don't actually have like a ridiculous ceiling. Actually, active is I don't know how any of this works. They are low in the active cap. Because I assume they have dead money on their books. Let me go look now. I'm just like spiraling, but that's what you get. Yeah, they have a cap holds for Jan Mahinmi, Kendrick Nunn, Ty Lawson, Shabazz Napier, Tomas Satoransky, Ramon Sessions, Jonathan Williams, and Cassius Winston on their books still. So
What a set of names.
yeah. Excuse me, not doing too hot.
With-
Yeah, Jan Mahinmi is taking up 17% of their cap hit right now.
With the Bucks,
The
I had
Bucks,
to go
yes,
take
sorry.
a look at their subreddit and see what people had to say about this. Top comment on the Middleton update reads, quote unquote, "There's no setbacks. I would say if this is a playoff game, he'd be playing or close to it." Attributed to Glenn Rivers 2 weeks ago. I guess the red hot start has bought him some extra time, so no need to rush him back.
Doc Rivers said that?
He said that 2 weeks ago. He didn't say a second part. Said,
well, yeah, but what a mess. How are you going to say that and then 2 weeks later say, oh, yeah, he hasn't gotten to 5-on-5?
Doc's just up there saying stuff, I suppose.
Wow. Doc, I mean, there are 2 teams in the Eastern Conference that are above 500 right now as we're recording this.
I hate to see things like that, man. You know, nobody loves competition more than me. And to see all these teams struggling out the gate and the Celtics and Cavs being the only teams that can win more than they lose almost brings a tear to my eye.
It is just like so weird to see which teams are like the 500 teams as well. Like it is this Cavs and the Celtics up top at 8-0 and 7-1. Cavs being 8-0 still, which they played great this season. And then the Nets, who are 4-4 in third place. Knicks, Heat, Bulls, Pacers, Magic, Hawks, Pistons, and then the Sixers and Bucks have combined to go 2-11 this season. Which is, I don't think something
Pistons
a lot of
have more
predicted.
wins than both those teams combined.
Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Man, it's so weird to see. The third place team in the Eastern Conference would be 10th in the West. Wow.
Hate to see that, man.
It's just insane stuff. Let's see. I think that just about does it for the Bucks stuff. We can move on to something, Sam, you want to talk about. So I'll let you.
Yes. So for those that weren't there, Monday night's NBA slate was a ton of fun. I'm actually kind of happy that we weren't home. I mean, the Celtics weren't home because we didn't have to go. We could watch from the comfort of our own homes because the NBA did a slate of 15 games. Every single team played, and all of the tip-offs were 15 minutes apart. What happens as a result of this, as Worldwide Wob laid out in a lovely thread on Twitter, is that you could have theoretically watched roughly 4 hours straight of the final 15 minutes of each NBA game. With the NBA crunch time that the NBA has now started to push as part of their app, this is the blueprint of how they should do things. He suggests that they brand it Basketball Night in America or something to try and push this out as a national event every single week, where these games are going game after game after game after game, and you can really just dial into the NBA. It was so much fun doing the playback with Jake last night, and then once the Celtics game ended, flipping over the Pistons game and watching the Pistons finish off the Lakers, and so on. Then Jack and I did the post-game show, and we recorded it, and then we watched the end of Grizzlies Nets. That is the type of action that this NBA type slate is going to enable. And it may be really great for the people that just like to watch highlights and clips on Twitter, because you can pick one game to watch. After that, you can just flip between the most important parts of each game after that.
I mean, that's what I did. Like you mentioned, watch the end of, let me see, I want to check the schedule just because I don't remember exactly. I was watching the Celtics, but then I caught the end of, like you said, Grizzlies, Nets. I saw the end of Kings, Heat. I caught the end of, there was another one I think I saw the end of Knicks, Rockets. I saw the end of Pacers, Dallas briefly, and then I saw the end of Raptors, Nuggets, which was a really good ending. Like I watched the end of 7 NBA games last night because the schedule allowed it. I wouldn't be opposed. I think this is fun. I think it's a good way to get engagement. I will also say I do feel like that the people who want to bounce around and see that I'm trying to think what I want to say. You need to make the games more accessible if you're going to do that, because the people who are going to be able to see that are the ones who have League Pass, and the ones who might want to see it probably aren't going to spend all the money to just buy League Pass for that point. You know what I'm saying? So you need to make either more games accessible, put more on national TVs, buy the rights to more channels. Like there's a whole thing that needs to be done, or make League Pass a little cheaper, or offer, like you said, the crunch time thing, which you can watch that. There's got to be a way to like get eyes on it. Exactly. But like the League Pass thing makes it interesting.
They should definitely do this on the final day of each
like
season.
of the regular season.
Yeah, because if you remember last year, there was like a lot of, especially me, like I was all in on the way the standings could end,
Yeah,
and which teams the Celtics are going to face in the playoffs and how the standings are going to end up. If you just had these games ending one after one after one after one, it would be a really exciting way to finish the season off. Now, how can you determine whether or not that's fair to the teams that are involved? I don't know. Maybe there's something that goes into the way the standings are set before the final day, where you plan the games.
Yeah, you don't really have the option to like predetermine games based on standings. You kind of just have to hope stuff works out in your favor. But
they flex games all the time. You can change the start time of games.
Yeah. I guess you could flex the start times. But again, like you can't flex if the Grizzlies play the right opponent to get into. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't flex.
No, you're not changing the opponent. You're just changing the times to stagger them, like 15. Like final day, first game is at noon, then 12:15, and so on.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you were like suggesting they adjust it so the two teams fighting for the playoff position play each other on the last.
Well,
day.
they did that. They just made the play in.
Yeah,
that's what
I guess. No, I mean I'm all for it. I like the 15-minute time slots. I think it's fun. I think it adds drama. I think it lets fans see different things at different points. I watched RJ Barrett almost end the Nuggets. The Nuggets, who are scraping by the way. They're in a tough spot.
And Aaron Gordon got hurt. He's going to be out with a calf strain for a couple weeks.
They're in a tough spot, man. I yikes. Yeah, I'm in. I'm all for it. All right. Shall we do the route list?
Absolutely. Let me change the screen here.
I was like, are you gonna go first, or
usually you're like, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Usually you lob it up to me. Rat list is lady at the polling place today, so I went and voted as everybody and their mother told you to do. And as I was like, so you give them your license and then they give you the sticker, but she like made me put the sticker on. She was like, she took it off the wax paper and like was like, put this on. And I was like, all right, I guess. But I didn't, because I was going to go to the gym after I went and voted. I didn't want to have the sticker on me when I was working out. I was like,
yeah, that's odd.
All right, like I guess I'll put this on. And I hadn't even voted yet. Like I could have like just taken the sticker and left. That's what I should have did.
No, that's very weird. No, so I went with my roommate today. It was convenient because it was like a 5-minute walk away. So I was like,
oh, mine's right down the street. Excellent.
And I did my voting, and they just like had the stickers on the table, so you could just take one if you wanted, which was just, I feel like how it should be done.
Yeah, the lady essentially held me at gunpoint. Like it was like, put this on before you leave. You got to put this on, making you put it on. I was like, what are you doing?
No rat list. I will rat list. I guess this isn't really a rat list, but just a story. So on Sunday, me and 3 of my friends went and just like played football. Like we're doing like, okay, we'll switch off your quarterback, your wide receiver, your safety, your quarterback. Like we were just running routes, right? As you do, of course. And I was the corner on this particular play, and I was guarding the wide receiver, and Ryan threw the ball up. And before the play happened, Danny looked at, like, we were being like children, right? We were being like, okay, I'll do, fake this press coverage, whatever. Like we're calling out like plays, like we're acting like we are in the NFL and we're just in the park. So Danny, before the play starts, he goes behind. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean behind? But I'm just like, all right, I guess he'll be behind me because he was the safety. So I'm to assume he'll be behind me. Ball gets thrown. I go up, just grazes over my fingertips. Dude just catches it and runs to the end zone. And Danny's just staring at me. He goes, I thought you had it. I go, you said behind. Like the whole point that was supposed to happen was you were supposed to be behind me, and you just were not behind me. So again, like I mean, I feel like this is like a trivial rat list, but I don't have much else. But it was just baffling to be like, what the hell? I was the only one who did not slip and fall in the grass because it was a little bit wet outside, so I was felt good about myself. It was less balance and more I was not running at full speed.
You knew you didn't want to fall down. Yeah, that's what it was.
Exactly.
Rat list these dusty ass floors that are always at every basketball gym. I couldn't tell you the last time I went to play pickup basketball and the floor didn't feel like I was on like at least like 20% ice. You can't plant, you can't really change directions, and it's super frustrating to have to keep like putting your hands, running them across the bottom of your shoes to take all the dust off so you can have some sort of traction. Because then you look at your hands and they're all dusty and gray and gross, and you got to touch the basketball. Like, I'm not a germ guy. I don't freak out over that stuff. But I know if you played with the right person and they saw you do that, they would have their day ruined. Is it really that much to ask for these places just to make sure that the floors aren't a dust trap? Just run down there with the broom like twice a day. The guy that works in the facility. Just do it.
Yeah, no, I can back that. Our rat list TikTok algorithms, and I know you're not on TikTok, so I will explain. So the way TikTok works is you get like your For You page, right? Which it basically tracks everything you watched and figures out what you like and feeds you content. Whatever. TikTok has these things called, or it has this thing called the TikTok Shop, Sam.
Shop.
Are you
like
familiar?
Shop?
No. Are you familiar with Temu and Wish?
I'm familiar with Wish because they used to be Lakers jersey sponsor, and I'm familiar with the concept because it's essentially like the great value version of whatever. Like it's like the shitty version of whatever.
Exactly.
Right?
That is effectively TikTok Shop. Except you can also be a TikTok creator and sell stuff through TikTok Shop, right? And so whenever you watch a TikTok, you have to watch out because you'll be 10 seconds into the TikTok and without realizing be watching an ad for something on the TikTok Shop. And the only way you can see is there's like a little thing at the bottom where it says like, oh, sponsor, and you have to like figure it out. So I've been getting a lot of those. 2, today I accidentally watched like a comedy skit of something about like the election or something, whatever. I like watched it. And ever since, TikTok also has live streams. Do you know that? You can do lives on TikTok.
I didn't know you could do lives on TikTok.
It's like Instagram live. Yeah. But all I'm seeing now, these people doing live streams where they like title it election results live, and they're either like all blue or all red, like clearly just fake, but TikTok is children, so they get like thousands of people like clicking on like, oh my God. Like, no. But then the other thing is, I don't know how else to explain what this was that I watched other than telling you exactly what it was and watching the confusion and laughter across your face. It was children from India in a line flipping a water bottle, counting the bottle flips, going 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do they have to land it?
Yeah. And they're landing all of them. And I tuned in when they were saying 23, 24. I was like, there's no way. Right. So I watched till about 50. And I'm like, this is crazy. And they're going like rapid fire. And then next to them, there's this adult man just deadpanning the camera, just like looking directly into the lens. And I don't know what type of cult or whatever I came across on my TikTok For You page. But all I know is that it came back on my For You page about 2 hours later with another kid in the line, and he was at like 80. And I was
very get
concerned.
Off TikTok.
It was a problem. I didn't know what was happening. I was very bored today, clearly. TikTok's a wild place, man. Let me go on my TikTok. I bet you within like 5 scrolls, I'll run into something like I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even know how to find it to show you exactly what was happening. This is one of the election maps things, though.
Tab. Let's see.
This is one of the election fake maps.
Are they just making like predictors and being like, or are they pretending like it's real?
I think both. I think there are people that have done both. I don't know where I could possibly find this bottle flip thing. But it is. Oh, here.
Are they still going?
No, this is a replay. They just.
But it's the same kid.
Yes.
Oh my
No,
God.
but there's also other kids that have done it. Dude, he's a machine.
This kind of looks like it's not real.
It is real. I don't know what to tell you. It was on a live. It's
That doesn't look like physics.
I don't tell you. Maybe they're cheating, but I watched that thinking the same thing as you for like 10 minutes. It was a problem. I sat here like at my desk, just mindlessly like.
We don't think he
Maybe
boomeranged it?
Maybe 10 minutes is an exaggeration. No, because he's saying different numbers. He goes 1, 2, 3. Like he is like counting actively. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Okay, get off.
I
Get off of there. Instagram's the same way. Instagram's always feeding my girlfriend brain rot, and then I have to do something about it. It's all these brunch places, different things, whatever. All right, I don't have anything else.
I don't think so. I don't think I do either. So we can wrap there. This might be a bit of a shorter show, but I mean, it's the day after we recorded the other one. So what are you going to do? Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and all that. Sam, take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment. Tell us what you thought of Celtics Warriors. I'm sure you loved it. You can also hit the bell on our channel because Jack and I are here every single day. So when our new content goes up in the morning, you won't miss any of it. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps morning after each game, and other videos in between to keep you all up to date with all things Celtics. If you hit the bell, you won't miss any of it. If you follow us on Spotify and Apple, you'll get the pods and game recaps right into your feed there. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com is the address for that. We love to hear from you guys. You saw us on the show today. We read your emails every single pod, so get them in. We love to hear your opinions. You guys are a big part of our community. hbtcpod@gmail.com. The socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's Monday NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it, folks.